Shemai and welcome back. Today I'm on the north coast of the Gower Peninsula and I'm recording a bit of a different vlog to usual. Now, rather than a hiking sort of adventure vlog, this is a vlog about trying to get one of my bucket list shots. Now, every photographer's probably got a bucket list. It's a collection of shots, usually not in their own country, of places that they really want to photograph. Now, one of those shots on my bucket list is the wonderful Whiteford lighthouse, but under the Milky Way. So I photographed Whiteford lighthouse before. I've done a vlog in it. You can find that here, but I've never captured it under the Milky Way. So in order to do that, I need a number of conditions and a number of things to line up in order to be able to even attempt to capture that. I think they're going to line up tonight, fingers crossed. So we'll see. Now, reaching Whiteford is a bit of a 3-mile trek, so I bought the noble steed. Sunset is in just under an hour, so hopefully I'll get there for sunset, capture a bit of drone footage, hang around for an hour or so, and then when it gets dark, the Milky Way. So let's get cracking. Cue the B-roll. So I made it out to the tip of Whiteford Sands. It took me just over 35 minutes. On the way, I spotted some wild horses. You frequently get them roaming the marshes of North Gower and the sort of peninsula here. Absolutely stunning creatures. Now, the sun's just about to set, 10 minutes. Absolutely stunning. Now, Whiteford Lighthouse is out there in the estuary. It's currently surrounded by water, but the tide is on its way out. It will be low tide in approximately 2 hours. So the whole reason why this lighthouse with the Milky Way above it is so hard to photograph is that you need several factors to line up. First of all, it needs to be Milky Way season. Second of all, you need clear skies, no cloud, no moon. And third of all, you need the Milky Way times to line up with the tide time. So low tide is at about 10 to 10 this evening. Milky Way becomes visible about 9:15. So the base of the lighthouse becomes sort of accessible about an hour and a half either side of low tide. So fingers crossed, conditions are looking good. This cloud sods off, but the lighthouse, 44 feet, 30 meters high. It's the only cast iron wave swept lighthouse left in the UK. Absolutely stunning. Right, drone up and enjoy the sunset. Well, I'm laughing, but I wasn't laughing about 10 minutes ago. I've just had the most stressful experience of my life. I had about 50% drone battery, so I thought I'd fly it out to the lighthouse and try and create a drone halo. I've done it before over Arthur's Stone. At 20%, obviously it starts coming back to you. I was, forcing against it, trying to get one more shot. All of a sudden I'm at 10%, and I just try to fly it back to me, but I have no perception of which way is which. 10% turns into 5, into 4, into 3, into 2. into 1, into 0, and then at 0% I had to wade out about 50-60 meters, and I was waist deep, and I managed to catch the drone literally a foot above the water. Oh, that was horrific. So I'm gonna have a can of Thatcher's Haze. It is 10 to 9, low tides in an hour. The waiting continues.
1 hour later.
So it's 10:45, I just got back to the van. How do I describe that? How do I sum that up? Scary, exhilarating, stressful. The adrenaline's worn off and I'm a bit cold now. I was shivering on the way home, but didn't go as I expected. Turns out the tides were a lot smaller than I thought they were going to be, and the water never got clear of the lighthouse. So got to about 25 to 10, low tide was at 5 to 10, and I kind of realised I was like, the tide ain't getting past the lighthouse here. So considering I was already soaking wet from my drone escapade, I stripped off my shorts and I waded in about 150 meters, and it was generally all right. It was like knee to thigh deep, and then as I got closer to the lighthouse it sort of went past my waist. I was also almost up to my nipples at one point. I rolled my coat right up, because the bathymetry of the estuary, there were sort of pockets, so I was trying to find my way in, and I got one position and I think I got a good snap, but it wasn't quite the right angle because the Milky Way was on the left, the lighthouse was on the right, and so I waded my way in and I got about waist deep, and yeah, I was directly in front of the lighthouse, really close, but then the clouds came in, really frustrating. But fingers crossed, I'm going to go back and look at the snaps now. They look half decent on the camera, not what I had hoped for, but I think I've got something. But God, stressful. I'm glad I had my bike as well, because I waded my way back to the beach, zigzagged, got to my bike about 10:15, and that was again, exhilarating half an hour ride home. But let's get home, have a look at the photos and see how they go. So I am back home, dried off, warmed up, and as you can probably tell by the mustache, it's been a fair few weeks since I shot the video. It was shot at the end of September and it is now the end of November, but I've loaded up the photos to Lightroom. I've done a bit of editing, bit of sorting. Before I go on to the Milky Way shots, I kind of wanted to showcase some of my favorite ones from sunset and the attempt of a drone halo. So this is the first one. I love this shot, love the color of the sky, just the wispy, vibrant nature of it. The silhouette of the birds on the top of the lighthouse, and even got two birds coming through the shot here. I then switched it up and moved the camera a little bit closer to the ground, trying to get a bit of depth of field. Again, love the vibrancy of the sky. Not as colorful as the last shot, but I love the texture of the clouds and the depth of field created by the water being out of focus. The final shot of the lighthouse at sunset is more of a zoomed in one. This is at 150 millimeters. Love the silhouettes of the birds, love the texture of the sky, just love the depth of field separation you get between the water and the lighthouse. Quick drone shot which I managed to capture before I nearly lost my drone. Again, just shows you how vast and big Whiteford Sands is, and you can even spot Worm's Head in the background there. Now this is probably the best of the 3 drone halo shots I managed to capture. Not much of a halo, and again, not over the lighthouse, but that's because I was probably 150 meters away. So my perception of depth and orientation was very much off. Better halo, but again, slightly off to the left. 1 or 2 birds congregating on the lighthouse. And this last one is an absolute shambles. But yeah, all in all, not worth risking my drone for. Now, the first of the 3 Milky Way shots. So as you can see, quite a significant distance from the lighthouse. Slightly to the left, I had envisioned the shot being directly in front of the lighthouse with the Milky Way directly behind it. As you can see, the Milky Way to the left-hand side of the image here, vertical in its orientation because it is towards the end of autumn here in the UK. But yes, not a bad shot, but not what I envisaged. This second shot, more of a pano, a couple of shots stacked together. Again, much better, much clearer. You can see the Milky Way in more detail. Again, vertical in orientation, but you can see the distance from the lighthouse where I am. Like I talked about the bathymetry of the ocean, I was worried about stepping in and potentially going above my head or, yeah, up to my neck, which, considering the Loughor Estuary sits in the Bristol Channel, which is the second highest tidal range in the world, it wasn't somewhere I wanted to be at 10 o'clock at night in the pitch black. So you can probably see why I was hesitant to get so close to the lighthouse, as I didn't want to be swept out to sea. The final shot, I did manage to pluck up the courage to get a little bit closer. I did go up to my nipples at one point, like I spoke about. But yeah, directly in front of the lighthouse here, this is my original shot, which I had envisioned minus the water, but unfortunately the clouds came in, which is just my luck. You can kind of see a little bit of the Milky Way to the left-hand side of the lighthouse, but I still love this shot. I love the sort of milky creaminess of the clouds, but I love how towering and dominant the lighthouse is. Really shows you the scale of it. But yeah, after that, the tide was turning. I think I was in there for a good 15, 20 minutes, and the tide turned. And like I said, highest tidal range in the world. The last thing I wanted to be was out there waist deep, 10:30 at night when the tide was on its way in. So yeah, called it a day after that and packed it in. But those are my photos. That's the vlog. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found it useful, and I would recommend going down to visit Whiteford Lighthouse if you are on the Gower Peninsula. I have done a vlog outlining the hike, which you can find here, but it's well worth a day out, especially if you're into your photography. Just check the tide times and the tide size if you are going to try and photograph it, because it is only accessible at low tide. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe and all that nonsense. And until next time, diolch yn fawr.